the gutter. For the bread and butter, I leave niggas in the gutter.
Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. What's going on, good folks? What's going on, good folks? It's your boy, the Pantangeli Moulignon, the filet mignon of philosophy. It's your boy Frankie Five Aces in the building.
And it's your boy B.I. Double back in this thing. Happy to be with y'all today.
And you already know you rocking out with the two. You know what I'm saying? It's the two in this bitch. Y'all might as well give it up for the two. You know what I'm saying? We figuring it out. The foolishness, the fuckery, the flat out flabbergasted, man. We got a great show for you guys today. You know what I mean? The best one yet. So let's jump right in. And once again, I mean, it's the few. If you feeling what we putting down, man, you picking it up. You already know what I'm about to tell you, man. Support the crew, man. Support them. You feel me? Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, man. But let's go ahead and get right on into it, man. We done seen a lot of crazy stuff this week, man. Yeah, I mean, so
madness, absolute madness, foolery.
Absolute the absolute madness. As O'Shea do Jackson, man, foolishness is at an all-time high, man. So let's get on into it, man. Let's see what's up with this thing right here.
The whole world is.
Oh snap! Here we go.
With one meal for my child, but I have 3 other kids. We have 1 kid together, but he only want to come and bring 1 thing to McDonald's. But what about my other kids? How come you can't feed my other kids from McDonald's though? Like that bogus as hell. Like, you're not finna sit here and make my other kids feel left out, and you're only bringing one child something to eat. Look, there you go. And I bet you he only got one thing in there. I bet you he don't even. I'm finna expose out of him so people can see how he really is. It ain't more than enough food in that bag for everybody. What's up? Because I'm finna expose you. What? Because that don't look enough for all my kids. That don't look enough for all my kids. What is that? That's just one burger? One burger, one fry?
What he like? What do you mean?
Okay, what about my other kids?
What about your other kids?
Okay, but them your kids' siblings, though.
What are you talking about? What are you about?
Them your kids' siblings, though. So my other kids finna be left out.
You didn't feed them?
You know I don't give my food stamps to the seven.
Lisa, is that my problem?
Then if you're trying to help out, though, you're not helping out.
I'm not trying to help. I'm trying to help my son.
How are you helping your son when you're only getting food for just him and not the other kids, his siblings? Them are his siblings, though. He's not finna eat it from all his other siblings and they're not eating on McDonald's. No, why do I gotta put...
Bring him out to the car.
No. He's not finna eat that shit at all if you can't bring enough for everybody.
Lisa, so you telling me that I gotta bring... So when I bring my son food, I gotta bring your kids food too now?
Yes.
You sound dumb.
How is that dumb? You sound dumb. You sound dumb.
Where are they daddies at? Nobody told you to talk to them other... You had them other kids. Them your responsibility. They're not my responsibility.
Okay, but if you're gonna bring one, you need to bring it for all. How do that shit look that I'm letting one child eat McDonald's and all the rest of the kids can't eat no fucking McDonald's?
So
you know I get food stamps on the 11th.
Three kids that ain't mine. What
yeah,
like,
they're his siblings. You knew what you was getting into when you had a baby with me.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
You expect me to take care of all the kids? They're not my kids.
Okay, but you still had a baby with me who have kids with other people. I still have other kids. Because I'm exposing. Everybody think you such a motherfucking good daddy. No, you're not. You're full of shit in this bullshit. You only come here with one piece of food for one child.
The child that's mine, silly.
No, that's dumb that you can't feed the other kids. Don't feed nobody at all then. He can't take that shit. He can't eat it.
Maybe if you had one or two, I can maybe. You got, it's 3 extra kids. What the f***? I like going to my mother account, spending money on all those kids. Them not my kids.
Them are your kids' siblings, though. Dumb.
So that's what you gonna go with? That's the one you gonna
Those are your fucking kids' siblings.
They're my so that means
yeah. So don't. No, I didn't say you have to take care of them. You can bring them something to eat if you bring one something to eat.
I bring them food every other day. What do you mean?
Exactly, but you don't never bring food for the other ones. You know I get my food stamps on the 11th.
Your babies.
Okay, but I'm saying we share the same kid as well.
Absolutely. So if you want to, if you feel like I feel the way about eating, take him in the room and let him.
I'm not taking my kid in the room.
Or send him down to the car. He ain't gonna eat for his brother. He come right out to the car and eat with me.
No. You know what? Fine. Give it here.
Thank you.
Give it here.
Bro,
Give it here.
Kids,
Give it here. Dumb. He ain't eating this. Cute.
Why would you just do that?
Because you ain't bringing up for all the other. You stupid. Selfish is like you're dumb as hell. You're dumb as hell. He not finna eat that. Dumb.
Man.
Oh my goodness.
Man, I'm speechless. And every time I watch the video, man, it's, the same feeling that I get from the very first time I watched it, man. I'm just left speechless. There's nothing to say, man. It's crazy.
Man, we about to chop it up regardless, man. Yo, what's your first take reaction to this, man?
Man, my first reaction is, I mean, she gotta keep it a buck. As crazy as she was acting, as crazy as it may sound, it is his fault. His fault. Yeah, I said it. I mean, he laid down with her. You know what I mean? Like, end of the day, we all know what the red flags are. Look, she on food stamps. She said, yeah, I get my food stamps on the 7th. Then she switched up and said, I get my food stamps on the 11th. So she don't know what day she get my food stamps. You know what I'm saying? She's just waiting for that thing to hit. So clearly she broke. She ain't got no job, no ambitions, goals, aspirations. She already got kids. And you hitting that thing raw, bruh, and going off in that thing? Yeah, my boy, it's your fault, man. Fellas, we got to watch where we plan our season. we've all made that mistake. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't perfect. You know what I mean? I'm sure you ain't perfect, right? That could have been
You ain't
any of
no
us. You know what I'm
anybody.
saying? That could have been any of us. But I get to sit here and say, look, you got to be careful. I mean, I'm not in that predicament, man. But yeah, bro, that's like my first take on. That's my first thoughts right there, man. I feel bad for him, but he made that bid, man. That's his fault.
That's crazy. He said we hard on thoughts and we hard on simps.
Real talk, real
Either
talk.
way, like,
Yes,
and
everybody gets the smoke. Everybody gets the gas. For
my man
real.
definitely deserved it because just from the way Shorty was talking, I was just like, dang, where is this girl from? Like,
My
what
ears.
what hood, what hood did birth this thing? Uh, but I think
What
it's
hood
really
birthed this thing?
interesting. I need to know, man. I need to know because I heard
What you
certain
thinking,
hoods,
man?
man.
Did it sound like Atlanta? Did it sound what accent did you get from that, man? Like Alabama,
Man,
Florida. I got
just the
Florida vibes
energy,
from it.
man. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I could see it got to be somewhere in the South, man. It got to be
Yeah, of course.
Atlanta or maybe North Carolina. I could also see that.
Yeah, I
You
can see
know,
that. I can see
it
that.
seemed kind of good out there.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a certain level of accountability. Because the situation can only happen if you kind of volunteer for it, right? You laying down with this girl, obviously all the red flags, every single one, right? So when she said, "Oh, you knew what it was gonna be when you laid down with me," like
Bruh,
she
that
kind of
one,
got a
man.
point.
She
She
kind
kind
of
of
got
got
a
a
point.
point,
Mm-hmm.
kind of. Um, but I also thought about it this way too. Of course, it's not his responsibility. I think we can all kind of agree.
For sure.
However, as someone who has technically, I never call them this because they're my brothers and sisters, but technically they're my half siblings.
Yes. Same.
And as the man in the situation, I mean, does it really break the bank to like get all of them McDonald's? And wouldn't that just be like a nice gesture?
Man, it's a recession, bro. The McDonald's. You been to McDonald's lately? McDonald's is getting expensive, boy. Listen, I ordered a double quarter pounder meal, man. That thing was about $12, $13.
Damn, no
For the
way.
large drink, yeah.
Oh
So you
snap! I'm
multiply
thinking
that
it's
by
like
four.
$5 a head or something.
Man, he said he buy food for them every other day. So I'm just doing a quick math. That's about $50 every other day. I mean, let's say about maybe 3, 4 days a week. It's $150 a week.
Sheesh.
Multiply that by four, about $600 a month. But kids that
Yeah,
ain't
you
his,
went
he probably already got him on child support. I'm just saying,
pops.
bruh. You
You
know
wouldn't
what
feel no
I'm saying?
type of way just getting McDonald's for your kid and your kid only.
I would. I mean, look. At the end of the day, I think it's all about what he can afford. That's what it comes down to. If he can afford to, buy McDonald's for the rest of them, and he's just being like, petty about it, then or I mean, that's how I would view it anyway. I would view it like, all right, bro, if you do have the money, if you do got it like that, you just bring in McDonald's, and the other kids, their situation, the father's not around, they struggling, they gotta see your son, see you pulling up with McDonald's, their brother all happy, he come in, he crunching fries, and McDonald's fries, you can smell them from a mile away, man. You know
Facts.
what I mean? So they smell when he coming up like that. His dad pulled up. You know what I mean? He coming and smacking fries in his face, and smashing burgers. I would feel bad about that. I wouldn't be able to do it. You know what I mean? I would try to look. You gotta share with your brothers. I'm gonna get two. It's for y'all. Y'all split meals. Both of these meals. Just try to make it work. You know.
I can see that too. I can see
Yeah.
that
There's like
too.
memes out there where like there's like a new package or a new deal where they actually split the burger up in four. They divide it in four. I'm like, maybe a situation like that would suffice. You feel what I'm saying? What about you, man?
Sheesh.
How would you feel about it?
Man, I call me hard hearted, but fuck them kids. I'm
Nah,
sorry,
bro.
I can't. I can't. Because the thing it's not the kids' fault, right? It's not the kids' fault, but and
Oh
not
man,
really
I
and
was
not
not
really fuck them
expecting that,
kids, but
bro.
like the not even really fuck them kids, but like the baby mom, right? Because here's how I look at it,
Word,
and this is like some African ass shit. I gotta tell you, but like none of y'all niggas is starving, all right? Like y'all not gonna cannibalize each other. Y'all not gonna starve to death. Like y'all better go in there and make something. Like oh no, you
Right.
fix a tuna sandwich, my guy, or
Y'all
peanut
got
butter
some
and jelly,
noodles,
whatever you
some rice
gotta
up in
do.
there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, y'all gonna eat. You feel me? Like, when I was just out in Africa, like, it's hella kids in this one house. They all eat, bro. Like, they, even if it's a little bit, yeah, I
Right.
mean, they may not be out here getting fat and whatever, but they
It's
all
enough
eat. Everybody
to
survive.
not
Everybody
die.
be cool.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
did not die, bro. So,
Right.
so for that reason, I think putting the responsibility back on the BM to be like, yeah, like, these are your responsibility, and that means
Hell
you
yeah.
have to, think about how you're gonna make the food stamps stretch, or whatever you got to do. It should never be a situation where, like, oh, if they don't eat the McDonald's that I bring, then they're gonna go hungry. Nah.
Right.
And in
Yeah, don't
terms
don't
of,
put that
like,
kind of pressure on you. Like, you know.
yeah, and even in terms of, like, uh kids that aren't mine, I could see every once in a while, but there should be a precedent. I think there's room for that, to where, the father that's coming in is taking care of his kid. For those other kids, they may, eventually grow up and, like, have some kind of perspective on it. It's not like I'm ever gonna build a relationship with those kids, whether I get them McDonald's or not. They're gonna have to take that up with their dad or their mom, and, like, that's not even their problem. That's not even my problem at all. And people do have to take responsibility. Why should um why should I have to come out of my pocket, um for just as a gesture on a regular basis? I can see every once in a while, sure, just I'm, being a good guy, whatever the case may be. But just to have that expectation, and that sense of entitlement, to where it's like, oh, like, your kids' siblings, or, they're my kids, so, like, how you go, you not bringing food for my kids? Yeah, we need to put an emphasis on that. No, I'm not feeding all your kids. That's your job. I think it
Fuck
should stay
no.
that way.
Yeah, bro. Like the first point that I was making, man, it was not in any way, shape, or form to absolve her of any responsibility or the role that she plays, because she gets the gas, she gets the smoke too, man. I mean, I seen a follow up video, like a response video. I don't know if you've seen it. Where she addresses the situation, she pretty much stands on her statements, right?
Oh, I got that.
Pretty
You want
much.
me to run that?
You ain't even really got to run that, right? I mean, maybe
Okay.
maybe we can get into it, but my point, the point that I'm making is like, if you look, she got her nails done, her weave
Oof.
is popping, makeup on a
Oof.
beam. So, like,
Oof.
where are your priorities? You talking about your kids starving, ain't got no food. They got to rely on this other dude, no relation, no blood relation to them, owes them really nothing, right? But he's expected to pick up the responsibility. Like, no, those are your kids. Just like my man said in the video, your kids. You laid down with those guys, made extra babies. And I mentioned red flags for the dudes. I mean, ladies got to look out for the red flags too. One of the major red flags, major red flags. Woman get with a guy, they know he got kids, never see his kids,
Mm.
right? So you already see what kind of dad he is. Dude ain't talking about his kids. His kids, you don't ever see him on the phone with his kids. Kids ain't calling him, FaceTiming him, texting him. You lay down and make a baby with this kid and you expect for him to change and be there for yours? It's the same thing. So all you're doing is perpetuating a cycle. You're making things worse. You just add yourself to that
Absolutely.
list. So, I mean, she's even more so at fault because those are her kids. She made three more mistakes. I'm not calling the kids mistakes, but as far as the fathers picking the fathers, obviously, if she could choose again, I'm sure she would. But yeah, she's absolutely in the wrong. It's not his responsibility. And again, she got her nails done and all that shit. Like, man, fuck the nails, fuck the weave, man. Like your kids, they need to make sure that they fed. You want to make sure that they're nourished and they comfortable, they good. You know, um, that's not his fault. At the end of the day, it's just
Yeah,
not.
I couldn't
So
I couldn't agree more, man. I mean, I didn't even peep that. You look at her, you know, she out here flexing
makeup on a
basically.
beam, bro.
Yeah, man. Like, what's up with that? I mean, I know that stuff not cheap. I don't know exactly how not cheap it is, but
Yeah, it's
I'm
definitely
sure.
not cheap though.
Yeah, I'm sure it costs money. And you know, that's money that could have been buying these kids McDonald's, I suppose. I love how she was like, "I'm gonna expose you," like nigga.
He was like, "What?"
I love how
My man was
surprised he was. He was
dude.
like,
He was mad surprised.
he was like, "Yo, stop playing with me." Yo, stop playing with me, yo. Like, get out of here with that. As he
Right.
should. I
Like,
mean,
what?
as a nice gesture, sure, but come on, dog. We can't have these kind of expectations for stepdads. That's not how this goes.
Nah, not at all, man. But you made a comment earlier, about a statement that she made. She's like, "Well, you knew what you was getting yourself into. I have other kids." So it's just like I read comments, and there were other girls, other women, other females who echoed this sentiment. So for
Mm,
me, that's just like, ooh, like they out here, like these baby moms, they really out here, and they wonder why. Like men look at that like women who have multiple kids as a red flag, right? That's why Kevin
mm,
Samuels, R.I.P. to the Godfather,
word.
always preached against laying down and having kids with women who already have kids, and he explained to them why. And that's a big reason why. Like we don't want to be expected. I don't want for you to expect from me to have to take care of your 4 or 5 other kids that you made with other men. Those aren't mine. It's not my responsibility. So, um, yeah, I mean, those are pretty much, my thoughts regarding the matter.
Or you need to be ready for that, I guess. Because I know some situations where the guy came in, took care of all the kids, and it actually kind of worked out for everybody. So, but otherwise, I mean, it makes me think about single moms. If you're a single mom, you did whatever you did, and now you got a house full of kids, and it's just you. Is it over? Are you gonna be a spinster? Like, because the way it's looking, guys are pushing back and saying, "Nah, man, like I don't need to be with a single mom, so why would I?" I guess in the community, they're just gonna be out here, like what does that look like in
Exactly.
the long run?
Right. Because I'm expected. She literally said, I was so surprised to hear her say that out loud. You knew what you were getting yourself into when you laid with me. I already have kids. So there you have it, fellas. That's the expectation right there. You lay down with a baby mom. It doesn't matter whether she says it or not. You know it in your heart of hearts. She is going to expect for you to not only take care of your kid for the next 18 years or however many years, but the rest of them kids also. So
Sheesh.
you got
I
you
mean,
got to.
I'm sure. No, go ahead.
No, that was it. I was saying you got a choice to make.
And I'm sure that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the problems you're gonna probably dealing with whole family that's not your blood.
Yeah, man.
So let's go ahead and move on to our second topic, man. The second thing we need to go ahead and get into, bring this up.
Oh, what we got? What we got?
Boom.
And when I stand up for myself, he threatens to call the police and revoke my membership.
She's out of pocket.
You need something? You need something? Do you need something? Do you need something? Do you need something? Okay, I thought so.
This bit.
Keep it pushing.
You're getting rude, you can leave. Nobody was looking at you any type of way. I don't own the gym, I work here.
Okay.
Yes. And
That
if you're
means
getting
what?
rude, then you can leave.
That means what?
I can call the police and have you trespass right now. Would you like that?
Go ahead.
Okay, cool.
Go ahead, let him know.
That's what we'll do. So right now, you can take your stuff and head up front. Like she said, you can do something. We got
He said, "We got hella girls in here. What you think is why looking at you for?" Or something like that.
Is that what he
Oh
said? It
man,
was an audible.
he said so,
Couldn't
that's
really
what I
decipher
that's
what
what I think he said.
Yeah, that's what I
That's what I
kind of thought he said too. Never really quite get it.
Yeah, that was that's what I imagined. He said something. We got hella girls. Either that
Like,
or we
man,
got
yo,
hella
it's hella
girls.
hoes in here, man. You think we got you little? Man,
Yo,
I
what's your
ain't
take
gonna
on this,
finish
man?
that.
I know you be in the gym heavy, man. You know what I mean? So, you probably have seen this type of thing go down, or what's your take?
Bro, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, she's not the only girl that. Well, at least I would imagine that she's not the only girl to try to beat guys and is looking at them. With just the way that they dress in the gym. The shit that they wear is crazy. These leggings, the way that they're made these days, they're kind of like I see leggings that kind of like have these thong imprint things in them that make the butt stick out more and all kinds of shit. But I really, yeah, it's ridiculous, man. I keep my head straight though. I'm not validating any of y'all. I'm not looking over at any of y'all. You know what I mean? Because that's what a lot of them want. They want that attention. You ain't getting it from me. You might get it from one of these other guys, but I'm focused on myself. I'm looking in the mirror, checking my form, make sure I'm doing things the right way, trying to maximize on my workout. But as far as that whole thing, she definitely baited my man's, right? Like, it was clearly a setup. And I'm sure you heard, right? She slowed down the video. He gave a quick glance. And I mean, she was low-key twerking. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the second my man's glanced over, she went off. Like, she went off. Like, she got exactly what she wanted. She knew what she was doing, and I'm glad that he handled it the way that he did. And I'm even happier about the response that she got from the internet. She ended
Right.
up like deleting her social media and trying to take the video down and everything as a result. And from what I heard, like the aftermath, her excuse was, "Oh, I was the only female in the gym." So I was intimidated. Like, you weren't intimidated at all. Like, you were mad confrontational. You were
Facts.
not afraid of the environment you're in, or the situation. I mean, you were fine. You know what I mean? Like, you were in full feminist battle mode. That's what that was, and those were all terrible excuses. But that's how I feel about that. She was wilding, literally twerking, and my man, like, he just glanced over for a quick second, like. And the thing is, like, we have eyes, like, we look. You know what I mean? Like, he could have just been looking to see what was over there, who was over there. It could have been a dude. You know what I mean? Like, it just so happened to be you that was in that direction, and you thought that he was looking at you and checking you out. And then she went off, man. So it was bullshit. Yeah.
Man,
What are your thoughts?
the man, the funny thing is that the old head that was doing the shoulder presses, my man was kind of staring. All right, like he
Oh
was
yeah, the
looking.
one that was actually like under the shoulder press
Word.
or squatting or whatever. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
looking, but she
my
wasn't
man was
talking to
taking
him
it.
though.
Yeah, right. I don't know how that ended up getting misconstrued, but homeboy was actually taking the gander there, and I feel like I see that a lot, especially with like older guys in the gym. In their 40s, 50s, I guess. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they be taking the gander, man. They be you know what I
No, but
mean?
that's
But
their culture, though. I mean, like,
what you mean?
that's,
Yeah,
that's their thing.
yo,
Like, they come from
how about that?
cat calling, you know.
They do, man, and it's interesting. Uh, I don't like when people look at me in the gym. I mean, I get it, but I don't really like it. Right? I understand. I'm like, all right, man, you mean, take the gander, but especially when I'd rather you not actually. If it was up to me, like if I could just have the gym alone and to myself, that would be preferable. But you got to
Yeah.
understand that people are gonna look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Like,
So
we've all been
right.
through it. We've all been glanced at, looked at, everything. I've been through it for sure. But I mean, I take it more so as a compliment. I'm flattered by it.
Oh,
I don't start to like. I don't have my head in my ass about it. It's like, all right, well, I appreciate your comment, or if you're looking over for a little while, all right, cool, well, keep it pushing. Don't do anything crazy, and let's just finish out our workout. Let me finish my workout, man, so I can be on my way.
it's
But
never made you
I ain't ever wanted
uncomfortable.
to. Nah, it's never. I mean, having girls look at me, that don't make me uncomfortable. If it's a guy, bro, like, that's different.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's a dude, still,
That's
hell
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
motherfucker. Like, you talking about fuck guys, bro? You don't fucking stare at me.
Yeah.
I'm minding my business, my guy. Like, like no. I am liable if it gets past a certain point. I'm liable to walk up on you like, bro, what are you looking at? You got eye problem. So I guess I could kind of sympathize with her from that standpoint. Like, no, I don't think anybody wants dudes staring at them. I don't think anybody
Yeah.
on the planet wants guys staring at her. So I guess I get her from that standpoint. But from an
Let
opposite
alone
gender, I don't. It is what it is.
let alone like, these older guys that be like they be knee slapping and all this other crazy shit, like, or tapping other guys like, yo, you seen that? Like, yo, if you
Yo,
don't
you
calm
did like,
yourself down, my guy.
woo,
Right.
oh man, like that catcalling is definitely deep with like the older guys. It runs deep, but it's harmless though. I feel like I feel
Yeah, I
like
get
I don't think that catcalling turns into like that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother conversation. But I doubt like when those crazier situations go down, it starts as a catcall. I think motherfuckers, commit those atrocities. You know what I mean? It's just a crazy dude. But as far as the
right.
catcalls, I just think that's something that guys have always done.
Yeah, I think it's like a staple in the hood actually. You always see it, even people that we know, they like professional catcallers and shit. Like, and a lot of times they be getting the bag, so I don't know. But you mean going back to this situation, all right, the guy takes a glance and I can sympathize with that. Somebody's looking hard, you're like, all right, what are they looking at? But it was interesting her response because she kind of was like, "Can I can I help you with something?" And then he like stepped up and then she said it louder. And then once he kind of came for her, like, yo, like, what's up with you? She was like, keep it pushing. I felt like she kind of got scared at that point. Even though she tried to like hold it together, I feel like at that point she was like, oh, this is actually more than what I bargained for in terms of a confrontation. Because he straight got with her. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you
Yeah, he did.
you know?
He did.
And I think that's an interesting part of like just the power dynamics with between the sexes that the women folk, man, they understand, especially like the ones that have it in spades, they understand um that there's a certain power that comes with getting you know really compelling people to look at you. Right, like they know guys will look,
Hmm.
so they use that as like a way to um kind of scaffold other types of power on top of it, right? Where it's like, oh, well, you're looking at me, and now it turns into this like where she kind of felt like she could tell him what to do, or like she could control the situation. Um, like that, the whole power dynamics was just mad weird to me. Like how she probably expected something like this to go down, and how it actually went down because he acted very professionally. And I think that was the right way. I mean, I'm really glad to see how it all worked out. Because she was dead wrong.
She was, man, and you make a really interesting point, right? As far as like just the whole dynamic. I think that she had a plan, in the words of the old great famous Mike Tyson, everybody has a plan till they get punched in the mouth. You know,
Or
she had a whole idea of how this thing was gonna go down, how it was supposed to unfold. Then dude pulled up on her, and he was probably 6'5", 220 pounds, and she instantly felt that. She saw that. She probably became overwhelmed, like, oh shit, what did I get myself into? Hence the keep it pushing, as he drew nearer. So, as far as the whole power dynamic, that's interesting because, I would imagine that there is sort of, a sense of power that you get from being able to, get attention, take attention from someone. Um, but then there's, the power dynamic as far as, the guy is concerned, walking up on the girl and being bigger, more imposing, obviously more physical, right? And I guess that he was able to kind of calm her down a little bit. Not calm her down. She tried to maintain it, but you definitely could sense the change in her energy as he defended himself. And I agree with you. I'm definitely glad that he held his own. He's like, yo, you can go. I'll call the police. You know, he's like, go ahead, go ahead. But I'm sure on the inside, she was like, no, I want to stay here so I could beat more guys, get more attention, stare at myself in the mirror. Um, you feel me? But I,
Word.
I like how it went down though. I like the outcome.
Yeah, man, and that's now it's making me think about just like all of what she's probably doing it for. I mean, there's been other footage of her like in the gym taking these body shots or thirst traps, whatever you have you. And when you think about social media and just how much attention she probably gets just from being a sexual object, then it's like even that becomes kind of entangled in her being looked at, her being objectified, and having like if we can call like the Facebook or excuse me the Instagram likes and comments, and if we can use that as a proxy for power, then it's like you know then she really feels something when people stare at her. That's like what's going on in a digital space. So it's interesting that she gets that same kind of power trip out of doing it in real life, right? Like if
But
somebody
yo, why
comments
do
on her
they
photo.
downplay it and act like they don't like the attention?
Did she act like she didn't like the attention?
I
Like
mean,
that's
she's
I
like,
guess that's what I'm
"Can I
saying. Like
help you? What are you looking at?" That whole thing, like,
I think that's
she
an
wasn't
expression of
inviting.
yeah, I think that's the expression of I have the power to emasculate you now because you were looking at me. Not necessarily that. I feel like that is more of an expression of that than it is of I genuinely don't like the attention that I'm getting. It's like, oh, because of the attention that I'm getting, I can talk to you this way, right? You've given me that power by staring at me.
Yeah, but I think it was all under the mask of like, what are you looking at? Like anytime, you pose a question like that, I would think that it's a thing where you don't want to be looked at. You know what I mean? But I definitely agree with you that she did in fact want that, and she, utilized it and, leveraged that power to emasculate that guy in that situation. But she tried to position it as though she didn't like it. You know what I mean? When in fact, I mean, that's the reason why they post those thirst traps and they spend hours in the mirror trying to perfect the angles and, you know,
Mhm.
twisting and contorting their bodies in a certain way to get, you know what I mean? Like to get a certain view and a certain angle. So, for them to act like they don't like the attention woman, they act like they don't like the cat calls and just the response that they get from guys, but they continue the same actions and the same behaviors.
Mm.
It just to me is it doesn't make sense. It's utterly confusing. I don't
Shorty
understand it.
was definitely trying to make a wok out of a spatula, but I'm gonna say like there's another there's another dimension here that I think is crazy, like the racial implications, right? Like I can't help but think like
mm,
if this was some white guy, would she have reacted differently? And given that it's not like there's this whole history of white women uh kind of purporting themselves to be the sexual victims of black men even when there's no real um assault there, right? Like
Emmett Till
Emmett
comes to
Till is
mind.
like yeah, it's like the canonical example. So yeah, I think, man, for that reason I know a lot of guys they make it a point not to engage with white women. In a way they're kind of like scared, just because of that history of um black men being hypersexualized and white women being seen as like super fragile or whatever. And then the whole history of um miscegenation between the two, and how they kind of have this thing where they always, even in public, I feel like it's like, girl, I don't want you, like chill. Like relax.
Yeah,
Like
relax.
but
In the
maybe that's
words
a
of
thing to them where,
Goldie, don't flatter yourself.
hey, yo, don't flatter yourself, man. Shout out to Goldie, man. He couldn't join us today, but next time on the
No
on the
doubt.
on the on the show it'll be the few, man. But yeah, I feel like they do flatter themselves when it comes to that a lot of times. Maybe there's complexes to that uh that they have where they think that black men really want them. It's like, really? What? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they feel as though they're like the ultimate prize. You know,
Actually, there's a good example of this. Lena Dunham and Odell Beckham Jr. I don't know if you know these two people. Do you know who Lena Dunham is?
I've heard the name. I definitely know ODB is Odell Beckham Jr.
Right.
But um,
Or
no,
have you ever
is
seen the
she's
show
like a
Girls?
comedian or actress or something
Got
like that.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. She's the main character in the show called Girls. Just like you can kind of imagine like Sex in the City, but for the millennial generation.
ugh,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, she's like I'm just speaking factually, right? But she's like a overweight to obese, um, white woman who's like maybe 5'6" or whatever. You know, kind of like a proto Amy Schumer, like before Amy Schumer got popular, that kind of humor is embedded in the show. Anyway, they are together at a award show, and I believe she was tweeting, and she ended up tweeting something about like she was flabbergasted, like Odell Beckham Jr. didn't try to talk to her. Like she was like amazed and like kind of appalled, like what? Like Odell Beckham, like
how dare
like
this black
as if he
man?
was really supposed to, and like was supposed to lust
Mm,
after her, and like she was just couldn't understand um how he wouldn't have. And I'm like, yo, you really flattered yourself this time, and I don't get it. Like,
right,
why would she?
right. Yeah, I mean, why would he? I mean, he's Odell Beckham Jr. He's, one of the richest men on the planet, one of the most famous men on the planet. But that just goes to show, like, how certain females may really, undermine the value of a certain man. And it just plays into their own
Mm,
delusion, their own delusion. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's to, bigger out herself up, make her seem
mm,
or feel as though she's more valuable than she actually is. So she puts down the value of a man like him. But yeah, I mean, that's just insane. I haven't seen her, but for you to say she's like an Amy Schumer type, then I could only imagine what she looks like. And if that's the case, then that's the only reason I could think of why she would expect for a dude like Odell Beckham Jr. to even look her way.
word, word. She should be ashamed, and she's like issued apologies and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean that's crazy that they feel like entitled to being objectified by black men. That's kind of what the narrative was at the time, and definitely an interesting situation. Um, but yeah, man, let's go ahead and move on to our last story. You feel me? Let's go ahead and throw it up.
Let's do it.
Decline. Have a look at this. Here's a sign of societal decay, another sign that our civilization is in serious decline. Have a look at this footage from the subway in New York City where a man in the white jacket and black leggings is rampaging on a train. Looks like there are plenty of able-bodied men around watching. He targets a woman, sits next to her, and begins to assault her. What do you think happened next? Did the men on the train step in and protect this woman from a violent thug? Did someone bother yelling at him to stop to show there was more of them than him? Well, no. The cowards watched as the terrified woman begged for help. You saw her there say, "Somebody, please help me." But nobody stepped in. Nobody was interested beyond filming the ordeal. Now, thankfully, that woman was okay and the assault did not end in her being grievously injured. The maniac went on to kick windows and terrify more passengers. But what does it say about society that not a single man stepped in to help? They allowed it to happen. Where are all the good Samaritans gone? Where have all the men gone? Perhaps folks on the subway are too distracted with all the signage on the trains to worry about an innocent woman being terrorised. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. What you see here is a sign on a New York City train telling addicts not to be ashamed about their drug habit, but be empowered by it. Opiate addiction is apparently empowering now. Meanwhile, the governor is focusing on the really important stuff like genderless driver's licences. Yesterday, New York governor posted this saying, New Yorkers, you can now choose X as a gender marker on your driver's licence. Every person deserves to have an identity document that reflects who they are. I'm not quite sure who X reflects, who identifies as X, but, you know, it's easier to make incoherent pronouncements than tackle a substantive issue like soaring crime on the subway and in the city in general, where the crime rate is up 60%, according to government data released in March. Murders are up, rape cases have surged, as have robberies. And the crime wave didn't just start this year. The surge began in 2020. And yet the governor and mayor would rather grandstand about far-left talking points than tackling crime.
Whoa. Whoa.
Hmm.
Man
Man.
said, get over here. Like, what's up with this draw, yo?
He said, "You, my woman." My caveman voice. So that was holding her head like Barney Rubble, man.
That was sad, man. I felt bad for the shorty. I felt bad. Dang.
Yeah, I felt bad too, man. But let me get this straight. So when men don't do what they're traditionally expected to do, i.e., defend women, right? Then we pose the question whether we're in societal decay. But when women don't hold up their end of the traditional bargain, um, it's viewed as process, which I find interesting. I mean, in the words of the great Dave Chappelle, I'm going to throw out another quote. Chivalry is dead, and women killed it. Like when women don't want to cook, they don't want to clean, they don't want to take care of their kids, they don't want kids. It's frowned upon to be a mom or a wife, especially a stay-at-home wife. Then that's viewed as progress. If you want to do any of those things, then you're looked at as weak, right? Or someone that's kind of living by old traditional means, which is basically viewed as um, obsolete by progressive types. The double standard is staggering. So it's okay for women to again act out in a way that is against traditional customs, but when men do it, we're in societal decay. I just found that to be interesting.
Yeah, and I really feel where you're coming from with that because this is something that generally men are looked all right. She called it out immediately, like, oh, like all these able-bodied men just standing around. Isn't this what you guys are here for? All right, well, at the same time, like women folk, y'all haven't really been on y'all game recently, man. Y'all
You feel me?
there's some issues, man. We gotta discuss it. You can't get something for nothing. Y'all trying to get something for nothing, man. What's going on? And we can't
Man, they want to
tolerate
have
that.
their cake and eat it too, man. They want to have their cake and
They
eat it
want
too.
to
We need to just
have
all
their
have
cake, eat it
one
too,
big
put it in the
eating.
fridge.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute insanity. And but at the same time, man, I don't know. It makes me look at the McDonald's kid situation differently because like if you're on a subway, Shorty's getting assaulted right before your eyes. Like, is it your responsibility? Not necessarily, but is it the right
Mm.
thing to do? I feel like it kind of is, right? She can't defend herself. This bitch is terrified,
Right.
and even a average guy could probably scare him enough to say, "Hey, like, cut that shit out, bro." Like, I mean, you can't just
Bro,
be
these
sitting here.
crackheads be unstable, bro. Sometimes you gotta let crackheads be crackheads. I thought they might have been a couple. I thought they were together. Look, my
She ain't
man's
look
is
that beat up.
clear.
Damn.
She kind of did to me.
Oh
I'm just
shit.
saying. My man's clearly unstable though. So you step in there, he shanks you, right?
Right.
Or let's say he don't shank you. Let's say you get the best of him. You whoop his ass. You end up going to jail trying to be a good Samaritan, and they end up back together. Or let's say they're not together. You still go to jail. You know what I mean? You get
Yeah.
fired from your job. You got to get bailed out. You got to pay money. You got to pay for a lawyer. You know, like you might be viewed in a certain way in a public light, but
Mm,
I mean, you kind of you're ruining your life though. You know what I mean? So that's a lot for society to ask for when men aren't really getting anything in return. That's what I'm
that's a
saying.
fantastic point, man. It reminds me of something that one of my mentors used to say. He said, "Heroes get shot." Like, yeah, and
Damn, just like that.
yeah, that was the whole thing. Because he said it in a corporate context of like, if there's like a deadline or whatever. You know how this goes, right? It's deadline. Everyone's kind of lollygagging, but then there's one guy who's just like, "Fuck it, all right, I'm gonna just carry the team and be the hero in the
Mm,
situation." And I thought that was a good thing. He was like, "Nah, you gotta always remember, man, heroes get shot." I was like sitting there for a second, like, what does he mean by? Oh,
mm,
ultimately, it looks bad on you and the people around you, and then you have to think like, am I gonna take all the credit even though I did all the work? So I should. That's a whole nother situation. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right, man. It doesn't really pay. I mean, think about it, and I guess if you want to go to the days of yore, 1600 or whatever, if you protected someone and protected their honor or whatever, like you were honored in the community. People fucked with you. People gave you stuff, gave you land. You were celebrated for that. But here it's much
mm-hmm.
more complicated, man, and we don't really get. I feel like we don't really get the perks of doing manly shit like we used to as a gender as a whole.
Exactly, exactly. And they want us to do manly things when it benefits them. But the other manly shit that we might do, like
Right.
I mean, for example, we don't like to talk as much as women, right? They say, oh, we need men to talk more and talk about their feelings and X, Y, and Z and oh you're insecure. It's like, nah, man, I just don't be feeling like talking about shit. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I had a long day at work. I just want to come home,
Or
watch the game, eat dinner, get ready to do it all over again tomorrow. I mean, but that's just one example.
it kind of makes me think like also another angle of this is like you take a place like New York. I'm in New York all the time. Um, you know, and I'm sure we all know people, all know women that be in New York, live there. I feel like or I guess I'm really asking you, Biggs. Like, do you feel like the more these kinds of acts of violence go unpunished, the more prevalent they'll become? Like, will this embolden people to victimize women specifically, given that you really can't count on men in the public to defend them?
That's a
And
good
is that
question.
problematic? Like, is that bad? Like then you have this thing where your sister, your friend, your wife, your daughter, your girlfriend, your mom lives in this kind of like very precarious society, um, in which they can be assaulted and and there's really nothing that anyone's gonna do about it. Whereas the opposite is even if you're not in their presence, you can still count on um kind of this honor code amongst other men to protect women as if they were their woman or their mom or their what I mean? Like it's like a social different social contract. And then it's not even
Yeah,
about the
man.
women folk at that point. It's like men to men. We're kind of relying on each other to be the protectors of the society at large, man. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that if this continues, and we go further into a place where, you know, men feel like they don't need to step up, then unfortunately there will be men who carry out these acts. They'll see that. I mean, because what's kind of kept people at bay, not only men but women too, but just bad people.
Mm,
I mean, it's just the fact that they're going to face some sort of punishment or consequences, right? But
mm,
if a guy could just do something like that, commit such an act and just walk off scot free, hell yeah, there are going to be other guys who kind of think like that and maybe in a different scenario or a different time wouldn't have done it because they know what kind of consequences it may bring. They're definitely gonna act out on it, and I think it's a bad thing. I definitely don't think that it's a good
Mm,
thing.
mm,
For people to be able to act out in such a way, and basically it starts a cycle of people see that there's no punishment or no sort of consequence, so then it just breeds more of these sort of acts. I mean, that's terrible, man, and it makes you worry about, like I have a family, right? So and that's it just snowballs into this whole bigger deal, this whole bigger situation, unfortunately.
word, man. And it's just a lot of crazy stuff going on in our country right now, and this is one of the most interesting kind of developments. I think people just kind of being more disconnected and that social fabric starting to fray. Um, but we we figuring it out. You feel me? You've been rocking with the few. You know what I'm saying? Once again, like, comment, subscribe, share if you're picking up what we putting down. That's our show for today. It's been your boy Frankie the Five Aces.
And your boy Double G.
You feel me? And it's been the two, you know what I'm saying? Catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.